All right. So this has sort of been like the traditional question I always lead off on.
Yeah.
When you have free time, or if you have free time, what do you like to do? Or if you don't have free time, what would you like to be doing during that free time if you had it?
I've been I don't know, I've just been, playing a lot of video games,
That's what I like to hear.
messing around with my video game setup also.
Oh, okay, okay.
Has become like a huge thing for me recently, especially like in quarantine, just
Mm.
perfecting this setup and uh
I would love to hear the details of how good is this setup.
well, okay, so I started out with I was just like, oh, I'm gonna make sort of like a retro game area in my home
Mm.
office. And
Sure.
that basically started to take up like a ton of room. Um
Mm.
Essentially what it started out was like, oh, I had this older flat screen TV which kind of like was from like early 2000s
Okay.
when TVs still had a lot of inputs, a lot of different inputs.
Sure. I
And
miss that, but
yeah, I
yeah.
miss that so much. And so I had that TV and I was just like, I'm going to hook up all my old consoles to it. And then it became
Mm.
like this whole like journey I went on about like, oh, you got to get the correct cables that are like shielded correctly, the wires.
Mm.
Then I started getting into upscalers, and
Okay. Yeah.
then like I started getting into RGB, and then I
Mm.
eventually I own like two professional video monitors now because they're beautiful, just they're beautiful pieces of equipment and I can't resist it. And so now it's all about like, oh, now I like have my Super Nintendo modded so it outputs RGB. So now I'm playing like stuff in
Mm.
that, and it's all like sexy and nice quality. And then like,
Are those the monitors that Dave has?
oh yeah, he's got one. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah,
I know he's been really working hard on that
yeah.
as well.
It's like it's I don't know. It's becoming kind of a sickness, especially now. Because of quarantine,
Mm.
there's a premium on retro game stuff.
Oh,
Like,
interesting.
yeah, there's been like basically like a quarantine tax on all like retro game things. Like people are like
Mm.
realizing, oh shit, people are bored, they're inside, they finally want to play Ape Escape or whatever.
Right. Right.
And they're like, you can do that for $100.
Yeah, no, I've definitely, as I've been talking to other people on here, I've noticed like a lot of people are going back to like comfort food type activities. So it's
Totally.
like going back to older video games or older shows they like to watch, or like for me, uh, there was a period where I was back into like Civ 5. If you ever played those, I was like
Oh,
it was
the
a long period
Civilization
of
games?
that.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I played that for like maybe like a month or two, thinking, this COVID won't last that long, right? Well, anyway, what else have I like? Cookie Clicker came back for a bit. I don't know if you're familiar with
Oh no, I don't
Cookie
know that one.
Clicker. Cookie Clicker is essentially a website where you just click on a cookie, but as you unlock more cookies, you can buy upgrades, and then it'll automatically click the cookie for you.
Oh
And as you
wow.
buy factories and buy, it's really quite amazing. But it's also a huge, not even a huge time sink, but it's just I basically, my experience with it was like, let's say, I don't know, fucking like 5 years ago or whatever, I got really into it, got all the achievements, and I went cold turkey. And
Uh-huh.
then during quarantine, I was like, I think came up during conversation. I was like, let's see what they added, and then I dove back in for like, I would say like a couple months. That was another example of something. Like just all sorts of habits and comfort foods have been popping back up into my life. We've been doing regular trivia nights of like either Mario, like I don't know if you know anything about my Mario background, but I grew up on the internet writing Mario fan fiction. And
Oh
so
wow. That's
in the
awesome.
early days, yeah, when I was like 12, 13, and I met my current wife through that community. A lot of my very close friends are from that community.
This is awesome because I would love to talk about Mario lore. I probably have some like hot takes and opinions that you can tell me that the Mario scene, what they think about what they think about my opinions. You probably know a lot about it.
I would honestly love to go into that. Like, the last guest I had on, we like dove into that, and I don't care how much I would gladly talk if every guest I had on cared about Mario as much as I did. I would talk about Mario for the whole fucking.
I love Mario, and I was a Sonic kid when I grew up, but you know, I was obsessed with Mario as well. I mean, you know, it's hard not to.
Do you know the Mario lore as well as Sonic lore?
There's less Mario lore. So
that's okay. Yeah.
So I think I'm like decently versed in it. But like, you know, I have my opinions, and you know, I wonder.
Before we dive into Mario, I would like to so your Sonic knowledge, because I know you're a huge Sonic fan. I know you like the comics, right?
I mean,
Archie comics?
I mean, I was omnivorous when it came to Sonic. I'm not a I don't know. I'm not an elitist for like a specific type of Sonic. I feel like a lot of it is pretty fun, and you know, it all kind of adds up to one of the weirdest character franchises like that's ever existed. So you know, I don't know. I love it all. I read the comics like crazy. I watch all the TV shows and the anime as well. And like, you know, I like most of the games too, you know. It's all just like, it's all fun to me.
Yeah. Sonic's been one of those properties where I'm not super well versed in it. I grew up playing Sonic 2 mainly, and that's kind of it. Like, I played some of Sonic 3, a little bit of Sonic 1. I don't think I've ever played a 3D Sonic. And then I would watch some of the cartoons here and there. And the comics, that was something I didn't even know how you could get. I guess those were like grocery stores or something. I never saw them.
Yeah.
But I learned about all this stuff later, like, because when I was like, oh, there's a Sonic wiki, and like, oh, there's a lot of shit on here. it is quite dense.
It's really extensive. And it's like, I don't know, the way that in like, you know, Mario lore, you kind of have to fill in a lot of the gaps.
Sure.
Because there's a lot of things that are just like, you know, they're not really explained, or they're, but I think Sonic lore is a little different because there are a lot of like people who really have tried to explain those gaps in official media as well. Sure. So like, you know, that's the thing about it that's so fun, I think.
I almost envy that though, because as a diehard Mario nut, like I wish Nintendo. Okay, no, I half wish Nintendo cared about the lore as much as I did, but at the same time, no disrespect, I look at some of the steps that Sonic has taken in sometimes where they over-explain or overdo it, and I'm like, oh, maybe we're better off.
To me, it's a difference in philosophy. It's like Sonic. Sonic is very maximalist, where, you know, Mario is really minimalist when it comes to the world and the lore and continuity and what that even is. And to me, it's just two different approaches to a lot of the same problems, which honestly is kind of like a history of the differences in game design between Sonic and Mario as well. You know, I can say there's pitfalls to either thing. You know, about being minimalist or maximalist, you know. I really enjoy both things, but I'm very much I like when people are excited about stuff, so it's hard for me to yuck anybody's yum out there.
Oh yeah, no, absolutely. And like, again, I look at like Sonic fandom and I'm like, there's something really just fucking cool about it. Like, and I don't mean that as like sarcastically, like, especially like I look at stuff like I'm like, I kind of, because for example, like one of my friends is going to do a Sonic trivia, and I don't really know that much about Sonic, but I've gleaned things over just like my other friends. You know, my other friends love like Sonic Adventure and Adventure 2, and so just through like their enthusiasm for it, I know like characters' names and stuff.
Yeah.
And maybe even more than just like the average person. But I definitely would not call myself a Sonic, even like a Sonic. Well, definitely not an expert, but not even like a seasoned pro. Like more like I've heard of like Knack the Weasel. I know that's a name. I don't know if I could tell you where they're from or like I know all the core characters' names, but
it's definitely a fandom and a property that you can get 100% lost, just like finding all the nooks and crannies of it and being like,
sure,
oh, what's this character? Oh, they're actually a reference to this character. They only existed in this certain series, and like it's actually an allusion to another part of the fandom. It's like this big interconnected web. That's
I was gonna ask you, as a Sonic fan, do you read the current Sonic comic, the new one?
I am not up to date, but I have read it. Yeah.
Is it good?
I liked what I read. I don't know if it's like, it's kind of funny because it is almost like a minimalist approach to the franchise.
Sure.
It's a little more stripped down. It's not as messy as the Archie comic, which you know, of course, you know, has its advantages and disadvantages. You know, sometimes the sprawling messiness of character history is really nice because there's always so much to pull from. There were moments in the Archie comic where it's like little things start to dovetail. It's like you don't know, oh, this part in Sonic's history isn't filled in. And then later they're like, oh, this obscure arcade Sonic game happened during that time, which is why we've never like little things all start to dovetail in like these fun ways because it's all the same character and same themes. So you start to build up this really rich history of this universe. But I will say that's also really messy, especially when you have like multiple writers all trying to add to this stuff and they're all going in different directions. I think that the new comics maybe don't have as much mess to pull from. And so they're kind of blazing new trails that aren't as they don't rely as much on like, you know, the history of the franchise.
Sure. Cause I asked because like I looked at some of the new stuff and I thought the art was just amazing and I was like, huh.
The art is awesome, yeah.
Yeah, I fucking love the art and I'm not even like a huge Sonic fan. I was like, huh, maybe I'll like read this. But I will say, like going back to when I said that like I think there's something really cool about the Sonic fandom. It's exactly what you just touched on. Like, it's not just Sonic. It's other. Because how long did the Archie comics go for?
I mean, that was so long.
That was a long time. Like it's 20 plus years?
Yeah, I don't know. I couldn't tell you offhand, but it was for a while the longest running licensed comic book. And
it was a long ass time.
And you know, like there were other titles with maybe other licensed titles with more comics, like say like Star Wars or something. But I don't think there was an ongoing that was as long as Archie Sonic, which was like, you know, a serious. It's definitely the longest running video game tie-in for sure. Yeah.
So like with something like I'm specifically even talking about the Archie comics here.
Yeah.
When I stumble upon a wiki for something where it has such a storied a long history, I genuinely find that awesome. Like
Me too.
Like, wow. I'll like, and as someone who has never read an Archie comic, I'll go, who the hell is this? I'm sorry, I don't know the character. Isn't there something like Sally Lou, Jesse? I'm sorry, what's the character?
Oh, Julie Sue. But
Julie Sue.
Yeah.
Julie Sue. I'll be like, who the hell is this? And I'll go, oh my god, there's so much information. Like, and that's fucking rad. Like, just, I know a lot of comics, you know, like, I can't really get into like superhero comics myself, but I do enjoy sometimes just going through like this is everything that Batman's ever done. I'm like, wow,
Oh yeah,
that is
I feel
a
exactly
lot.
I feel exactly the same way when you like games I don't even play. Like I don't know, I've never like played to completion a Ratchet and Clank game like ever. But
Yeah,
I remember seeing like the trailer for the new Ratchet and Clank, and
yeah,
I saw like people on a stream get like super excited when like
sure.
a female of Ratchet's species showed up. And then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
oh, I'm so happy for these fans. And then I started like looking at their wiki and like,
Yeah.
how they've always been like, oh, we want this like character to show up. And, we're always wondering like, when are we going to see like a female Ratchet? Like, and they're so like,
Oh
they're
man.
so like excited about it. And I'm just like along for the ride. I'm like, yes, that's right, guys. I'm here with you.
I loved. I did not. I mean, how could I say I didn't know that as someone who grew up writing Mario fan fiction? How did I? But I just never thought there was a really lore hungry Ratchet and Clank fandom. But of course, I just have to assume there's one for
Oh yeah,
everything
there definitely
yeah,
is. Um,
yeah.
and I wish that, it's unfortunate that Mario's licensed media kind of got off on a shaky start, because
Mm-hmm.
it would have been really nice if Mario had gotten to have like a comic or a continuing cartoon that was done with care for him as a
Yeah.
character throughout all this time. I think the thing that's fun about the Sonic stuff is that maybe it started as pretty cheap tie-ins, but pretty
Sure.
early on the Archie comic, they were working with artists and writers who were fans of the material. And so
Right.
and
Right.
so they were basically stewards of this character through times when there weren't that many Sonic games. And I
Right.
do wish that Mario had something similar. Maybe not like a messy, long spanning, lore heavy comic or something, but maybe just something where, someone was cataloging and keeping track of like all the Mario lore in like one place. There's the Mario Kun comics, which are kind of similar,
Yeah.
which are like kind of similar in sort of like trying to put all the games into one comic, but those are so
Mm-hmm.
those are so comedic. It's hard to really know like what's
Yeah, very
real.
gag heavy.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and like the I forget the one that they released in English not that long ago. The Super Mario, was it Adventures or Super Mario?
Dude, Super Mario Adventures was my Bible as a kid.
That was a great book.
As a kid, I read those in Nintendo Power, and I eventually got the collection, which had almost all the comics. Um,
Yeah, yeah.
that thing was like it was like my Bible. Like I read that over and over and over. That was like one of my biggest like inspirations for like just drawing and storytelling. And like there's
Sure.
when I think about like satisfying stories like with like a video game character, like that's
Mm-hmm.
like one of the first things I think about. Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean that whole collection is great, and I'm sure you know about this, but you know that Archie pitched a Mario comic,
Oh
right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, and I did not know about this until pretty recently, and I was like, wow, what could that have been? That would have been very, very interesting to see. Not necessarily like I kind of wish that it happened, but
I wish that it had
uh
happened, but I feel like by the time they were pitching that, it was like
mm,
a newer era when Nintendo knew more about the value of the character. I think
yeah,
the thing about the Sonic one is that it was started at a time when it was just like, who cares? We just need more Sonic stuff. Just do whatever.
sure.
And so because of that, they took a lot of big swings that I feel like maybe a Mario version would have been, I don't know. Who knows? Who can say? But who knows how it would have turned out?
Well, on that note of Mario, hit me with that. You got some hot takes for me?
Okay,
I would love to hear
so
them.
here's some hot takes. The character I really want to be recognized is Foreman Spike. And,
from Wrecking Crew.
yeah,
Yeah.
and I feel like there's something really interesting there about
Sure.
Mario having a boss that's not Peach.
Yeah.
Just as a person who, you know, is into like lore and characters, I love the idea that there would be sort of like this lost Mario's lost boss, you know, or like, you know, someone who's like telling him what to do or kind of like breathing down his neck a little bit.
Yeah.
I feel like that's an interesting character that if I was writing Mario fanfic, I would be wanting to like define that relationship like a lot.
I'm gonna tell you, I know for a fact there was at least one. Not that I wrote, but I know there was one that had a Foreman Spike in it. Would you write Spike as a villain or as just like a sort of adversarial force in Mario's life, but not necessarily a villain?
Yeah, I think that's how I would write him. I think it would be like, he's like the, you know, he's the foreman. So like, you know, he's kind of like the boss breathing down his neck. Like, you know, Mario is ditching work to go save Peach. And like, he's, you know, Foreman Spike is like the guy who's like, you know, what are you doing? We gotta build a building. You know?
Oh, man. Okay, I love this. So it's like, I thought this was gonna be like a prequel or something, like before Mario, I don't know, went to the Mushroom Kingdom or something. But this is going on current time. Like Mario has a 9 to 5, and he ditches it to rescue. Oh shit!
Yeah,
that's fucking great.
Here's another hot take. This one I think might be controversial. Okay, so this is actually just like a writing preference of mine, but I don't like splitting Mario between worlds. I like the idea of creating one world that could include, I mean, basically what Odyssey did. One world that could include human cities, Mario's 9 to 5 in his regular job, and the Mushroom Kingdom all in one world. I have an aversion towards portals in stories just because they're a little it's a little too convenient for me. Yeah, I always try to avoid them when I'm writing, but I like the idea that this would all be one world. That when Mario got delivered as a baby, you know, we see that in Yoshi's Island, that he gets delivered to mushroom people, you know?
Yes.
And I know that there's theories that maybe those mushroom people you know, had to abandon him and he got adopted by someone in Brooklyn or something like that. I feel like it should just all be one. I feel like it should just all be one world. Like, let's just make it like more comprehensive, you know?
I think that's what Nintendo is taking steps to do, though. I think that's New Donk City as a concept fixes a lot of like of the old continuity errors.
Yeah.
Just the fact that it's let's say, okay, it wasn't Brooklyn, it was New Donk City, and that's where Pauline is now. That I think is them actually, because they definitely we're ignoring the Mario and Sonic go to the Olympic Games, but aside from that,
that's a pocket continuity. We don't know what's going on there.
Right. Yeah, they really do not ever mention Earth or whatever you call it in there. I don't know what they would call it. And then I even feel like Yoshi's Island was a sort of a step to like kind of step away from that, right? Like, oh no, he's not from Earth and he came here. That was just like the old manual. He was born in the Mushroom Kingdom. And then with Odyssey, now we have a convenient, and then he grew up in New Donk City and got a job there. I totally agree with you. I love having it all be, I mean, in my mind, all the games countries and world like lands are in one giant planet. And they have like a United Nations. So here's a question for you. Like, this was a question I asked my previous guest. I feel like this is an easy question for you, but I just want to gauge how much you are deep into this. This is like a baseline. You know Princess Daisy, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kingdom is she the ruler of?
Sarasaland.
Okay, yeah. And so it's so funny to me because, like, for the average person, nobody knows that, right? But that's
Yeah.
like a question where I'm like, oh, if you know this, I know my brother. Okay.
I don't
and
actually.
That's not even a hard one.
I don't actually know how to pronounce that. I always thought it was Sarasaland.
I think it's Sarasaland. Yeah.
Okay.
But what if I'm like, because like, you know, the average friend like doesn't know that. Like that's not something I should expect anyone to know. But if someone does know that, I'm like, oh, a kindred spirit. We grew up playing these games, reading the manuals, and really getting into the lore.
I remember having a dream as a kid, like, oh, they should remake Mario Land, but have it star Luigi. Like this was when they were like starting to pair up Luigi and Daisy. And I was like, that's what they should do. They should make it like they should rewrite history and have it be that was Luigi and that's how they met. that was like just a thought that I always used to have as a kid.
That's great. I mean, because Luigi needs more games where he's the star.
Yeah.
That absolutely would fill the gap there. Any other hot takes you want to get off your chest? These have been great so far.
Okay, hottest take of all.
Yeah. Pauline,
best girl. This is the one.
Ooh,
this got people really mad at me. I tweeted this
really?
like a year ago. Well, because okay, look, everyone loves Daisy. Everyone's just like you're wrong. It's Daisy. And then
what?
And then there are people who are like, you're wrong. It's Rosalina. And I'm just like, no man, Pauline.
No way.
It's all about Pauline.
Ooh.
That got people.
Okay.
Look, this is just a hot take because it's purely an opinion. But sure. I feel like Pauline,
they're the best ones. Yeah.
She's this is why I think it. It's like, Daisy, there's a little bit of distance there from Mario. Mario's really blue collar, and Daisy's got, she's got this whole like, Peach kind of has this whole, she's like a princess,
Sure.
And we don't really know if Peach sees Mario romantically. I think there's some arguments that could be made that she's just thankful to be saved sometimes, Does she really see it as, I feel like Odyssey really threw some wrenches in the works on like what exactly is the relationship between these characters, Mario, Peach, and Bowser as well.
Right.
So I kind of feel like Pauline, she's a working gal, she's like she understands like Mario, he's a blue collar guy. She sees it. She signs forms, permits. She knows what's going on.
Yeah.
She's like, she could probably, look at Mario's work and like respect what he does, whereas, Peach, she, I don't know if she's interested in like plumbing or, she probably doesn't, she's like, oh, that's your calling? That's interesting,
Yeah. Wouldn't you rather be doing something else?
Exactly.
I love this. I don't know. For me, it's hard to shake. I think I'm a Peach guy through and through, but Pauline is like number 2. Like I totally respect that opinion. Like I think Pauline is absolutely better than Daisy or Rosalina. I mean, Rosalina is like bottom tier for me.
I agree. I agree.
Look, that design, like, come on. It's like you could have done anything else.
I know. It's fine, but it's like, I don't know. She doesn't need our support. That's what I think.
Exactly. Rosalina's there for people to be like, I'm interesting. I don't like Peach. I like Rosalina, who's just the blue Peach. And I'm like, that doesn't make you interesting, friend. I'm specifically calling out one friend right now. I hope you're listening to this. And Daisy's fun. But I don't know. Pauline, listen, when they made Pauline the mayor of New Donk City, I was I was thrilled. Like, in fact, like that when that trailer came out and they showed Pauline from behind and people weren't sure, but I was like, that's Pauline.
Yeah, man.
I was like, wait,
when I saw that glimpse of Pauline, I like jumped out of my chair. I was like,
I I did the same thing. I was like, no way. Now I know she was in the Mario versus Donkey Kong games, but in those she's still like the the damsel in distress, very like what she was before.
Yeah, and those,
like seeing her in a position of power, being singing a song. I mean, God, don't get me started on the song. The song was just like amazing.
And there is another thing too, which is being in a mainline Mario game.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
No disrespect to all my Waluigi lovers out there, but it's like he's not in a mainline Mario game.
100% agree with you.
So you might have to just give up on those hopes of him being smash worthy, or you know what I mean, or one of the main characters. It's like,
I 100% agree. He does not deserve to be in Smash. And as an assist trophy, wonderful.
Oh yeah,
very good. Yeah, totally like that. But until he gets his own, or at least appears in a mainline game,
or gets his own game,
absolutely not.
Yeah.
Or gets his own game. Which, listen, I would love like a Wario Waluigi like team up sort of game.
Wario Brothers,
in the vein of like a Wario Brothers, maybe like I know Wario World was kind of like a mixed bag, but something along that line, or I would love to see them team up, and that would be it, because Wario gets his own games.
Yeah,
Shoe in Waluigi, give him a chance, and I think people would really respond to that.
Yeah.
But I think there is this Nintendo's inclination to be like, no, he's the spin-off guy.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know if he's gonna get. He's funny, but we don't know. But,
so to go back to Pauline, seeing her be included in a mainline game, it's basically just like vindication.
Sure.
I was like, because before that I was like, Pauline's my favorite. I want more Pauline stuff. And then seeing her, it's just like, yes, that means Nintendo cares about Pauline.
Oh man, so you were the biggest diehard fan of Pauline even before Odyssey.
Oh yeah, before, yeah.
So it was just dream come true.
Yeah, she was she was always my favorite, and like I wasn't crazy about Donkey Kong vs Mario, but I did play them because I was like, well, Pauline's in here, so.
and she's probably the childhood friend, you could say, right?
Yeah, I guess that's sort of.
Oh wait, forget Yoshi's Island DS.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like no
one likes that game.
I feel like it's more like she's the first, like, because they met as adults, right? So maybe she's like, she's like the first, she's like the one that got away from Mario.
Yeah,
and there's something about that. There's something about that, like, sort of, like, melancholy that I like. That, like, seeing her again in Odyssey, it's like, oh, this is kind of, an ex. We parted on good terms, She's great. Yeah. She's doing good for herself. She's really...
It really did feel that way.
Yeah.
Like, revisiting an old friend.
Yeah.
Like, oh, what have you been doing for, like, the past 20 years? Oh, wow. Like... That's amazing.
Exactly. She was the main character I wanted to see return in a mainline game. The others would have to be Tatanga and
yes,
maybe putting Captain Syrup in a Mario game.
Yeah.
Those were like the other ones where and Wart also. Those are the other ones.
Wart's a big one for me.
Yeah.
I really want Wart back. Captain Syrup is awesome. I mean, the more women we can put in the game, the better. And she's just an awesome character. Tatanga, I love that pick. Now, he's only been in 2 games.
Yeah.
So would they have to update the design or what?
Yeah, I think they'd have to update the design for sure.
I'm just wondering what that would look like in today's, like, Wart and like Captain Syrup has been in like newer games, but Wart, for example, I can imagine a 3D Wart in my mind.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm sure there have also been like fan versions of that. Tatanga, though, it's interesting. I'd have to think about what he would look like.
Well, when Tatanga appeared in
modern day,
when Tatanga appeared in Mario Land 2, he was kind of like he was kind of toonier looking.
Yes.
And maybe they could like kind of maybe they could kind of build off of that. to make him kind of like,
Mm.
he's a little cuter and cartoony, he's got like those fangs,
Sure,
maybe,
sure.
I don't know, maybe there's some sort of, maybe they could like make him look a little more alien-y or something. I don't know.
Yeah.
I remember back in the day when Galaxy was coming out, people were like making fake rumors like Tatanga's gonna be in this.
I would have loved that even as just like a boss.
Yeah.
Oh man, I would have lost my mind. Wow. So yeah, you took like 3 of the best choices, I think.
Those are some of my hot takes, and I have more, but those are the things that like I've thrown out before and people have been like, what are you talking about?
But for me, I'm like, hell yeah, I 100% understand. You don't have one more, or do you think those 3 were like the best ones?
Okay, I mean, here's some easy ones, right?
Okay, yeah. Toss me some easy ones.
Koopa Kids are amazing. When it comes down to it, I don't think they're Bowser's children. I think they're like, they're like his wards, his like generals. Yeah. They're like, he's like training them, they're like some young Koopas. He like sees them. I don't think they're his actual children. I think
canonically they're not his children.
Yeah,
anymore.
Canonically they're not, and I think that's fine. I think that totally works. Here's my other one. Peach's Perfect Man. We met Peach's Perfect Man before at the end of Odyssey.
Oh, yeah.
You know who it is? It's Bowser's body with Mario's mind.
Wow.
That is
a take.
I'm just gonna leave that on the table. There you go.
No, I will say that moment was incredible.
It was so good. It was
and
so
the
good.
music that played, I was like, this is wow. I feel like a lot of people all around the world with a similar soul to me have all just lost their minds at like in unison.
It was amazing.
Even though we're not playing it at the same time.
Yeah.
It's just a sense of like, this happened. This happened in the game. That is, I love that. Fuck. That is a good take. It's interesting. A friend of mine, so I mentioned the fanfic whole history or whatever, and so none of us have even touched Mario fanfiction in like, when was the last time I don't know, I must have been like 14, so god, like 15, let's say 15 years of, we put that behind us or whatever. And then my friend, out of fucking nowhere, decides, because it's COVID, I'm gonna go back to my roots. I'm gonna write, because he's a writer, and he's like, I'm gonna write a Mario fan fiction now. And then he did, and it was amazing. It was awesome. It was a G-rated, very fluffy Peach Mario romance fic. And I was like, you son of a bitch. What the audacity of you to bring back Mario fanfiction into our lives and to also have it be fucking good.
That's great.
Oh, man. And now I'm just like, that to me was one of my favorite parts of the, I mean, not to say there should be any favorite parts of the quarantine, but you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
To find
spot.
Positive things in the quarantine, I mean.
Yeah.
That was one where I was like, I'm glad this happened. that as a result.
But to go kind of
go ahead.
To go kind of full circle though. Okay, so
sure.
what we're describing, these things about like, what if Tatanga came back? What if they blew out Sarasaland and turned it into this whole like big thing and we learned all the lore about it? Like all those like dreams, right?
Yeah.
Okay, if you're in the Sonic fandom, that happens all the time and for real.
Oh,
that's what it feels like to be in the Sonic fandom. Like late game in like the Archie comic, there was a whole arc starting that was like, what if we took these obscure characters from Tails Sky Patrol for the Game Gear and turned them into the next big bads for everything? What if we make the lead bad guy from that game Wendy Witchcart,
Yeah.
what if we made her the sister of one of the bad guys from the Sonic Sat AM cartoon and made them like this whole like that kind of stuff happened all
You're
the
not
time.
bullshitting me right now.
Oh
right?
no,
These
I'm
are
not.
real things that happened.
That was a real thing that happened. And like,
oh
you know,
my God.
like Sonic Mania came out and then they were like, our extra characters are going to be Mighty and Ray. And you're like, they haven't been playable for years. Mighty hasn't been seen since Knuckles Chaotix, and Ray was just in one arcade game. This is insane. And now they have all this story and lore and cartoons and toys. It's like, it's, you know, that kind of feeling. If you like that, then the Sonic fandom is like the place, you know? Like where you feel like every part of the buffalo is being used, you know?
Oh man, like I've that sort of like being able to tie in like what the Archie comics did. That's like the dream, I feel.
Oh yeah.
Like for like you get full, like if I got full control of like Mario or something, which you get not in 100 million years, they're so protective of it.
Yeah.
But it's like if they handed the reins to like fans, that would just be I would consume that comic like nothing else. Like that it would be amazing.
Yeah, we would want to like, you know, basically try to figure out lore for like everything in Mario's universe. And like, you know,
the party games, tennis games, everything. Yeah. Wario's Woods, incorporate all of it.
Yeah.
Shit. Now I do like to take the time to offer you a chance. If there's a topic you'd like to talk about, or if there's something you'd like to ask me, I'd like to give you that offer. Otherwise, don't worry about it. I got other shit we can talk about.
Here's a really quick one.
Sure.
You might have answered this already. How do you warm up when you're doing a voice? How, like when you're getting ready to record, you know, because I've done a lot of like voice stuff too, and I have my like particular ways that I warm up, and then I can feel in my mouth when I'm warmed up. Like I can feel like the muscles feel different, and I know I can deliver a line like the way I want to, you know, after doing that warm up. I just wonder if you ever experience anything like that.
I get asked this question a lot about warming up, and I don't have a routine. Like for me, as long as I just make sure that I'm not just starting from zero, right? Like that I've spoken at least some words that day. But otherwise, I don't. And I know some people swear by like a very strict, like you got to do your enunciations, got to do your whatever. But I kind of just go in going, okay, I think I'm good. But is that me being a cocky shit? I don't know. But I don't have that feeling of like, yes, I physically feel like I'm ready. I think for me, it's more of a mental thing of like getting into the zone of like, okay, getting really into the character. And that I can, and maybe that's the closest thing to your thing where sometimes like it'll take maybe a couple lines, but then I'll hit a line and I'm not, and this sounds so cheesy, but I'm not reading a page. I'm like, I am in the zone, in the scene as the character, you know, that sort of feeling. And that's when I feel, yes, I am doing my best work here. And sometimes, you know, depending on the director or the writing, that can be like right from the get-go. And sometimes, you know, you have to ease into it a little bit. But once I get into that space of, yes, I'm not even really worrying about the, like, I'm just going with my gut and just feel like I'm the character. That's like the sweet spot for me. But I am very curious to hear what if you have a routine or like a warm up. What do you do?
Well, now that you say that, I think I understand what my experience is, because I think I might be coming from a different perspective, because I'm coming from, you know, being a cartoonist, and a lot of times, you know, like for instance with OKKO, like those are all my characters, and you know we would be in the room pitching on lines for these characters, like with the writers and the storyboard artists, and you know I would talk in the character voices when I'm doing that. So I was very much in the head of those characters. Like they're, I was already there. And
Yeah, yeah.
the difference between like hashing out a line in the room and recording in the
Mm,
booth, I guess
mm.
for me it was more physical than mental.
Oh,
I
interesting.
think I was coming at it from a different perspective than you, like, because maybe I was mentally already there, but I felt like the thing I needed to practice was the skill of delivering those lines and enunciating and all that stuff, which
Mm, okay.
I think, I'm gonna venture a guess that, you are just very practiced at doing. Which maybe
I
like,
mean, for me, it was a lot of practice. Yes, absolutely.
yeah,
Like,
yeah,
when I first started out, this was, I think I've been going like 6 years now. And even before, like, I'm 6 years professionally, but I was doing stuff, for fun online years before that. So I'm
right,
talking before professional work. Oh, I struggled a lot with enunciating and, just making sure it sounded right. But that, I just went through like this, locked myself in the hyperbolic time chamber for like a couple of years and just made myself get good at it.
right,
And so now I don't have to worry so much about the physical, like, oh, does it sound right? I know that if you give me an AB, I'll at least nail it on a B with the enunciation at least.
mm-hmm.
Even if the A is going to be like me kind of discovering the line or whatever. But that is interesting. So for you, like, oh, but that makes sense though, because it's your characters, your show. And although you've done voiceover for other people's stuff
I
though.
have,
So
but
okay.
I think that's the thing. I think my experience as being like a storyteller, I
Mm,
have an easier time getting into the heads of the characters.
sure.
My thing that the hump I usually have to get over is like, all the like tactile actually delivering the lines, enunciating
Mm,
correctly, getting in like the cadence or the vibe of the character. Whereas like
yeah, yeah.
mentally, I'm like, I know what this character sounds like in my head. Like I can hear, like I
Mm,
already know there. And so it's like I'm trying to get my mouth and vocal cords to catch up to where my head is, sort of,
interesting.
which I think is like basically like the opposite of what you said about your, um, about your experience in getting into the character.
Yeah, yeah. For me, I have confidence in, I know what my chords can do, and I know what kind of voices they can make and what kind of inflections or whatever.
Yeah.
So yeah, for me it's more of like, especially if it's like like if I've been recording the character for a while,
Mm-hmm.
then it's like, just putting on like a very comfortable suit or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's the very first session, brand new character, if the character isn't as, let's say, well defined, then it, because sometimes even the creator or whatever is not sure. They're like, we don't know, like, go with
Right,
your gut.
right.
Like, what do you think? And I'll go, okay, let me give you what I think it sounds like. We can tweak it if you want. And that's where I'm like, okay, let's kind of get that settled, get that out of the way. And now that we've nailed the voice, okay, now it's just a matter of me sort of getting into who this character is. And then once that's locked in, then it's easy pickings.
Yeah, for sure.
Um, yeah. One other thing I wanted to talk to you about
Hmm.
is, because I haven't really gotten to go hard into this topic with anybody yet, surprisingly, considering it's me, but anime.
Oh yeah, let's talk
Uh,
about anime.
I would love to talk to you a bit about anime because not I think I know you are well versed. My question is, do you keep up with anime up to date now, like, or is it more like there's like an era of anime you're most familiar with, or do you
um,
still watch shows now?
Again, this is kind of like the thing I said about Sonic, which is like I'm constantly just, looking to find cool stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't, it's not that I have to keep up with new stuff or watch stuff from a certain time. I'm just always like, if it's cool, if it looks interesting, and I want to
Mm.
check it out, like it doesn't matter if it's new or old. It could be coming out right now, or it could be something that's been, over for years.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah.
like the two, like some of the most recent series I was watching. Well, the most recent series I started was Descending Stories. Have you heard about that one? It's
the Rakugo
the
one, right?
Rakugo one, yeah. And that's like that's like newer. I think that kind of came out
Yeah,
within
that was
like
a couple years ago.
2017. But then right
Yeah.
right before that, the cartoon, the one I was watching the most was Idol Densetsu Eriko, which is like, I think that's like from like the early 90s. It's like a tie-in anime about a idol, an idol who is like a pop star idol.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm just kind of all over the place, you know?
I'm totally on the same page as you, because I have friends who every time like the new season comes out, they're like, okay, we got to watch these 5 shows week to week. First off, I don't watch a show till it's done. Because I prefer to kind of watch it at my own pace. It's been interesting though, because I've been with a group of friends. We've been doing kind of like almost like an anime club over Discord, where each of us brings a show that we want to show to the other people, and we watch it in a block week by week, and that's been actually pretty interesting. And that's been a good way for me to kind of fill in a lot of gaps, because I'll say I think I'm pretty well versed, but there are gaps for me, which I think everyone has, unless you just have infinite free time. But the show I've been really enjoying lately is Karakano, which I've never seen.
Oh, you never seen that?
But
that's my.
I cannot believe how good this show
I love
is.
that show so much. Actually, this is so crazy. I was just talking to my partner Rebecca last night, and we were like, we gotta do a rewatch of Karakano. Like we've watched it together maybe like 3 times in our relationship, and we're just like, you know, we're talking about new projects and stuff like that, and it's like Karakano is like one of those things that, to me, as like a creative professional, that's like something to aspire to, you know.
It's incredible. I will give credit where credit's due. It's Dave who brought that one, because he was like, "You haven't seen Karakano?" And I was like, "No."
It's so good.
I was astounded. Just the first like 3 episodes alone, in just astonishingly good. And then we watched the one, I'm sure you are, because you've seen it, but you know the one where they just go like out as a group of friends and they go to like to a restaurant and karaoke. And
I love that.
I have not laughed that hard, and I was like, I could not breathe at some of the gags in that episode.
The show, you know, the reason why I feel like it's like a creative ideal, it's just like, you know, Hideki, you know, Anno, you know, he just finished suffering through making Evangelion. Yeah. That thing broke him, that show, you know? I mean, that's like one of the most difficult shows. Like, I mean, looking at how it was produced and when, and the troubles they had during like making all that stuff, and how hard that definitely was to direct, then going from that to making something like Karakano, which is just like, it's like, Karakano is like therapy. Like you feel like the restorative power of art, you know, at least to me. That's, that's what I get out of the show. And I just love it so much. It's like, it's absolutely total banger. One of my favorites.
It's so interesting, because when I didn't know Karakano was Anno, first off. Like, I only, after we watched maybe the first one, I was like kind of looking, I was like, oh shit, this is Hideaki Anno. And I had assumed this was before Evangelion, because it's so like, you know, just full of joy. And I had assumed that after Evangelion, he just went down like a route of, okay, I'm only doing Evangelion now, and I hate the fans. But no, the fact that it's after Evangelion, and like, and then when I heard like songs from Evangelion in it, I was like, wow, oh, this is after Evangelion? This is astonishing to me.
Yeah.
That it's this good, this funny. Like, I don't know about you, but here's another sort of topic. Like, a lot of comedy anime for me really, really, really falls flat.
Sure.
Like, I can admire it. I can be like, no, like, this is like clever, or, oh yeah, like this is well done, I guess, but am I laughing? No. Or in some cases, I'm like struggling. Like, not because it's badly made, but it's just, it's very rare, I feel, where like a comedy anime will genuinely get me to like bust a gut.
Yeah.
I don't know how you feel about the genre, but are there any examples you can think of comedy anime that you, or actually I'd be more interested, are there any comedy anime that you feel fall flat for you?
It's hard. Well, I think the thing is, it's like, for me, a lot of comedy in anime, it's like, joke construction is culturally, it's so different, right?
Yeah.
In a Western cartoon or show, it's always like setup, punchline. You're laughing at the punchline. You know what I mean?
Sure.
But in a lot of anime, it feels like it's punchline, reaction, and you're like laughing at the reaction, and like just and maybe it's like a cultural thing that doesn't always hit for me. It's a little like,
yes,
it's not as entertaining unless sometimes though, when it's a group of characters you really love, like for instance, One Piece, man.
I was just about to say One Piece.
It pulls that punchline reaction like joke. That's like almost every joke in One Piece. But the thing is though, you love the characters so much that when like a character is doing something stupid and another character is like, what is wrong with you? You're just like in it with them, because you're like, I love these guys, and I just love like hanging out with them. It just feels like I really get into like the friendship vibe of the whole thing. That's when it hits for me, when you have characters you really care about. I think Carrie Kano is kind of like that too. It's like the characters are so well defined that when they start doing like comedy, you're really clued into like what their personalities are and like why it's funny that they're saying certain things or doing certain things.
For sure.
Yeah, that's kind of like, my feeling of it. And then like, there's also stuff like Golden Boy where, the comedy really just comes from like the way that it was dubbed. And like the performances are just so good that you can't help but think it's like hilarious.
That is a good, going back to the One Piece example, and like that's a very good way of putting it. Like, and oftentimes in those animes, the bits that they're doing are also just strong on their own.
Yeah.
Right? Like a lot of Oda's jokes, a lot of jokes in Karekano are funny from the get-go, and then the reaction is also great because it's, like you said, character driven and it feels like sort of authentic, and it's just enjoyable to watch these characters interact in a way that feels organic but also funny. And I do think that some other shows tend to stumble like that for me, but I feel like I could go on and on, but I think this is probably a good place to stop. Celebrating the positive aspects of comedy.
Well, wait,
shows.
I want to ask,
and me shitting on some stuff. Oh yeah, what's up?
I want to ask you. Sorry, I just thought of a Mario question I wanted to ask you.
Yes, what's up?
What is something in Mario lore or canon that you wish you knew, or like you want to see?
Just anything.
Anything.
Like we get an actual answer on it.
Like say if you got put in charge of a Mario cartoon, like, and you could sort of fill in any gap in the lore, like what gap do you want to see filled in?
I think that's two different questions.
That's true. That's true.
I'm gonna say so there's arguments that you don't. Like, the stork is the primary delivery service for babies, so like you don't necessarily have to have a partner. But I think the very obvious one is, if you do need a partner, who is Bowser's partner? I know that's such a tired, obvious. But if I would just be curious to see what Nintendo had to do if they had to answer that question. I know they never will. I don't really. It's not even necessarily a desire of like, oh, as a fan, I'm dying to know, because I don't really care. But seeing them, what they would do, and if we could get like a cool design for Bowser's partner, that would be interesting.
What if it was Cammy Koopa?
Oh, you just named a character I wish they would bring back into the mainline stuff.
Yeah.
Cammy Koopa.
Me too.
Paper Mario is my it's my the first Paper Mario is my favorite game of all time, actually.
Mm-hmm.
I love Thousand Year Door too, but like the first two Paper Marios are very, very dear to me. I mean, as far as like or you know, if we have to go into like what would I want for like concrete lore.
Yeah.
If we can get like a world, even just a world map, like that, to me,
that would be cool.
Because I feel like and that can kind of answer both of your questions, right? Like, you know, if you're gonna have, no, you wouldn't necessarily need a world map, but in my mind you do. If you had to like establish, okay, the Mushroom Kingdom is here, Sarasaland, where's that?
Right.
Where's Bowser's Kingdom? Where's Darkland or Bowser's Kingdom or whatever in relation to that? Like a fucking Game of Thrones, like just like map of the whole world.
Yeah.
That alone, if you just came out with a book of that, that would feed me for the next 20 years.
That's amazing.
Of just like where's fucking Kitchen Island? Where's
right.
All the spin-offs, you know, where are all of those in conjunction? Even if it was just the mainline games, where's Dinosaur Island?
Yeah, that would be awesome.
Where like in where compared to where the Mushroom Kingdom is, because you know in the games they never care about consistency. Like Mario RPG, and you know again, this is why as a Mario fan I accept all this, that they will never establish any of this
for sure.
But if I had to make them do it, that's gonna be my answer is, where are all these locations? Tell me where they are.
Yeah.
I want to be able to see the borders of these countries. I think that's my answer.
There's a lot of potential, I think, in that idea of just like having it all laid out and like knowing where everything takes place, you know? That'll be amazing. Yeah.
We'll wrap up, but I just want to same question back to you.
Oh, if I was gonna fill in.
Yeah.
So let's see.
Some missing sort of canon or lore that you like. We make it official. What would you ask for?
I mean, you got. I think Bowser's partner, hugest blind spot. I feel like I can't equal that. So to go for something else, I feel like I would love them to reapproach and reestablish Subcon and what it is.
Yes,
you know,
that's such a good answer.
Like a land of dreams. Like, what is that? Like, I don't know. I can just imagine some new Mario game where there's some new mechanic that is about like being asleep and being in dreams and like, you know, having different powers when you're in dreams or like something. I don't know.
They did do Mario and Luigi Dream Team.
That's true. That's true. That is there.
But no, I love that answer because I've absolutely thought about it. Like, how do you get to Subcon?
Yeah.
Like, do you have to sleep? Or is it the door that he comes through? Like, you just need to get to that door and you don't necessarily, because, you know, obviously there's been migration, right?
Yeah.
Shy Guys and Snippets have come into the Mushroom Kingdom. So there must be some way for travel. Is there imports and exports? Okay.
Exactly.
But now I don't want to go for another hour.
And then,
so I'll just say, but that's a brilliant answer.
And then as for my counter to the map, the thing I really want, like the document I want is like, I want a full like list of all of Bowser's army. What are like, who are the generals, who are the lieutenants, like who, what are all of the, like, what's the hierarchy of all of the bad guys in the army? Like, you know, like, I want to know, like, all that stuff. Like, who's in charge of Goomba placement? Like, you know, like, I want to know, like, I just want to see, like, you know, the whole army, like, main advisors, like, Comic the Magic Koopa. Definitely like
Yeah.
the right hand of the king, sort of. You know, like I
Mhm.
want to see all that stuff. Like give me like, you know, I want to see Bowser's like army laid out in a huge flow chart.
That'd be fucking great. Oh man, that is a phenomenal answer. Well, thank you so much,
Oh yeah,
man. Like,
yeah.
I was not expecting to talk this much about Mario, but whenever I get to, it's just such a joy, and
Oh,
especially
yeah.
getting to talk about it with somebody who also shares the same passion.
Yeah.
So
Thanks so
thanks
much.
for
And
that.
yeah, you know,
Yeah.
look, as I said before, when I hear that someone's excited about something or someone has a fandom or something like that, that's all I want to
Yeah.
talk about. That just, you know, and to find that you have something like that and we could just like, you know, shoot the shit about it, that's super fun for me. So thanks for
Oh,
inviting me.
likewise. Thank you so much. Where can people find you?
Hey, you can follow me on Twitter at IanJQ, IANJQ, and that's kind of it for now. I'm an animator, a cartoonist. I worked on some shows that you might know. I may be trying to work on some new shows. We'll see what happens, but
Mm.
follow me there, and yeah, we can hang out and talk about it.
And everybody go watch OKKO. Is it on Hulu now?
It's on Hulu and HBO Max, and yeah, please watch it and check out Sungwon's appearance in the show. I won't tell you what episode. You're gonna have to find it on your own, so you got to watch the whole thing.
You got to watch the whole thing. But I will say one of my favorite, and I'm not just because I'm in it. One of my favorite cartoons in the last couple of years by far.
Thank you so much.
Just an absolute joy to watch. So go watch OKKO, and thank you so much, man.
Thanks for having me.